So, now that I've given you guys some advice on how to get started as a DM, how do you actually play the game? And I'm not talking about like the rule set and everything. Do you choose the conventional and traditional tabletop with friends around and rolling dice and pen and paper? Or do you choose the more modern digital style where everybody can hop in on a Discord call and you have a big screen and a website that you can use to do all of that, and all of the assets are either free or incredibly cheap? Well, today I thought I would go through the pros and cons of each, and we could figure out together which one is better, tabletop or digital.
Riser, double.
I take how much damage? I'm still trying to figure out how to frame myself in these videos, but in any case, let's start off with the most obvious pro to tabletop. And we'll start off with tabletop pros and cons because it is the traditional way, it's the way that I have learned, and well, we'll get to that in the end. In any case, one of the best things about tabletop is physical dice and books. If you've ever read a physical book, book, like the ones I got on those shelves back there, and you've read off of like a Kindle or something, then you'll know that, well, it's not the same, right? There's just something about holding an actual physical book, turning the pages, getting yourself engrossed that just can't be copied by looking at a screen. The same thing happens for these. Cracking open a rule book feels a lot better, and actually physically rolling dice feels better than clicking a button and watching a little animated graphic go off. On top of that, emoting is easier to show. One of the reasons that I like doing a camera-to-camera videos is because it's easier for you to see what my face looks like, what my hands are doing, my body language. It's easier to convey emotions, and when you're role-playing, this is one of the best things to do. Just hearing somebody go, "I swing my sword gallantly and shove it into the chest of the goblin," is far different from watching someone go, "I swing my sword with all my might and stab it into the chest of the goblin." You can feel a lot better. And there are video calls in the digital world, but we'll get to that in a little bit. The point is that it's far easier to emote in person and far easier to confirm afflictions and implications. And finally, being in the presence of others is just fun and engaging. There's something about being able to reach over and fist bump your friend after a really cool play that the two of you made together, or being able to give everyone a hug as people show up for the session, having the chips and everything out. Just the community aspect of in-person playing is completely and utterly unmatched. That's not to say that everything is sunshines and rainbows, though. For example, pen and paper can be incredibly annoying, especially when you start getting into like later aspects of the game. If you're playing any kind of caster, you've got 3 pages worth of fucking spells, you've got tons of items you got to keep track of, you've got freaking pages of notes and people, and it's all such a pain in the ass, right? And then like your character sheet, I don't have any physical character sheets anymore. I haven't played in a long time. I need to get some, but your character sheets are all like smudged and crap from you having to erase and put in new values and numbers, and as you lose stuff, and it's just really annoying. I hate keeping track of shit on pen and paper. Even when I play in person now, I try to like get like digital copies of stuff for people who want them. All of my notes and everything are kept, like I used to have a laptop, I don't have one anymore, but I used to have a laptop. All my notes were kept in a Google Doc on that because I hated like writing it down physically. It'd give me a cramp. So yeah, pen and paper can be annoying to keep up with. There's also a lack of available and ready to use assets. Getting a hold of minis and a significant amount of dice and the books, the actual fucking rule books, getting a hold of all of that is so hard. And that's not even coming to mention like drawing maps and shit. Like, it's so hard to get a hold of like physical copies of really good high quality play maps for you to give your player some environments. Most people grab this. It's like a big grid that dry erase. So you get this big grid, dry erase markers, and then you like draw on the grid and you just draw some little boxes and shit. And that's how people play. And that's fine, because a big part of Dungeons and Dragons is the imagination. And that's something I want you to keep in mind when I'm talking about whether or not you play tabletop or you play digital, you know, which one's better, which one's not, is the fact that you can play Dungeons and Dragons without any of this shit. You can all play it over the phone and just trust that people are telling you the right numbers that they're rolling, right? Because all Dungeons and Dragons is imagination, and all the assets are doing is helping fuel your imagination. It's giving you a visual to go with the imagination, but it's can still feel a little bit dull sometimes when you have to keep redrawing the fucking map over and over again, because like it's like, okay, we're gonna go 3 squares up and 2 squares to the left. No, not your left, my left. Yeah, no, erase that. It's crap. And then finally, the worst part is finding a group to begin with. I haven't been able to play a game in like 2 years because finding a group is just a massive pain in the ass. And it's even worse in person. Because like, if you're like me and you spend all of your time making videos on a video game and a tabletop role-playing game, you don't have time to go out into the world and meet new people and shit like that. So you have to like go to your local game shop or comic book shop and put up an ad and hope that people respond to it. And then it's even harder because you don't know these people. You know what I mean? You don't know who these people are. So it's just, you know, you don't trust them to come to your house or go to their house or whatever the case may be. And that's actually a good point. I didn't write this down in the documents. I forgot about that. Finding a space to play is a bitch. It's really a bitch. Like, if I were to run an in-person group right now, I don't know where the fuck I would put them. Right? Because like my desk has my computer and shit on it. Like it's my whole desk is taken up. So it's not like I can take all my computer stuff off and use this. We have a dining room table, but it's got a bunch of crap on it. So I don't have any, I just don't have a place to put people. I don't have a big area where everybody can sit down. So we would have to go to a comic book shop, and sometimes that can be frustrating. So maybe we could hope that one of the other players has a space. You know what I mean? Like, you get the point, right? It's very, very difficult to find a space sometimes. But that being said, digital, just like tabletop, has its pros and cons. One of the big things about digital is everything is easy to keep track of. You can alt tab your way through a bunch of stuff. You can if you're using like a Google Doc, you can use the thing to search words and indexes, and Google Doc has a lot of cool features. I think I'm gonna like do a video where I show you guys how I'm building my own homebrew world and like all the links and stuff that you can use to jump around to places. It's great for organization. But also it's just like most online role-playing things like Roll20, for example, which is the one that I personally use, has like so many easy to use, like it does all the math for you, and it's so easy to just click through tabs and like find what you need to find, and it's great. It's fantastic. I love it. I will try to leave a link in the description if it lets me to the particular character sheet that I use on Roll20, which is great for beginners. In any case, the second thing is that ready to use assets are great. You can fucking go to Google Images and type in Dungeons and Dragons map clean, so it doesn't have the grid pattern on it. Dungeons and Dragons map clean, blah, 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 right? Bandit camp or whatever, and just be handed a bandit camp. Or on Roll20 themselves, there's entire asset packs that are like $5. I get them all the time. Like occasionally I just go buy them. When I you know, have a couple of extra dollars, I go buy, you know, an asset pack. It's got like 12 different maps and a bunch of different little rocks and bushes that I can use to put everywhere. Or again, you can just grab a Google image and throw it on the back of there, and it makes everything a lot easier. Tokens, there's a free token website that I will leave linked in the description that you can use to make your own tokens. If you wanted to you know, do like Hero Forge, you could go on to Hero Forge and craft your way your character looks and then screen cap it and turn that into a digital token. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much easier to get a hold of all of the assets. You don't have to go out and buy a bunch of physical dice because they all have internal dice rolling apps. And finally, it is easier to find a group online. It's easier to make a posting on, like, you know, not Reddit. I wouldn't go to Reddit, but it's easier to make a posting on like Facebook or on even Roll20 itself has like a group finder function where you can just post and be like, hey, I'm looking to run a game. This is what I want out of the game. This is the kind of players I want. And people can respond and be interested. And then you don't have to worry about going to a stranger's house or them coming to yours. And it's also the ease of access of being able to play in the first place, because all everybody needs is a computer and a Discord, which are both, well, the computer's not free, but the Discord is free, right? All everybody needs is an internet connection and Discord, and boom, you're playing the game. You don't got to worry about it. The cons of digital, however, are things like video calls can be laggy and unclear. I typically don't use video calls. You typically only do voice because, you know, not everybody's got a good webcam. Not everybody's got a webcam in general, right? But not everybody's got a good webcam. Not everybody's able to or comfortable doing that. Sometimes I don't feel like putting on a shirt, so I'm not putting on my fucking camera to play D&D. I just want to sit in my boxers with a big bowl of ice cream and play Dungeons and Dragons, you know what I mean? The other thing is that digital can come with a lot of like detachment from the game. It's very easy for people to get distracted when other people aren't in front of them. So like in between turns, people will be looking on their phone and they'll be like talking to somebody else with their mic muted, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, Rhaegar, it's your turn. Like, what? Fuck, man. What's going on? Hold on. Let me, you know what I mean? And finally, trust issues. That's the biggest one. People like to do, you know, physical dice and everything. And so people who own physical dice will want to roll their physical dice because it's fun, as I said in the beginning, to roll dice. It's a fun thing to do. And so you can try to force that digital dice on there. But even with that, people can very easily like go into their character sheet and fudge things that you weren't expecting. They can change health states, and you know, if you're a trusting person, like I try to play with people and I try to trust people until they give me a reason not to. You can end up getting burned. So with all that being said, what is the best between the two? Should you do tabletop or should you do digital? The truth of the matter is, that is up to you. I've given you the pros and cons of both. You make that decision. And I know that seems incredibly unhelpful for a video that's titled, should you play tabletop or should you play digital? But the one thing I want you to remember, and the one thing I want you to keep in mind, is that there is no right way to play Dungeons and Dragons. As long as everybody involved is having fun, there is no right way to play the game. There's no proper way to play tabletop. There's no proper way to play it digitally. Now, which one do I prefer? I personally prefer tabletop. There is, like I said, there's something magical about rolling the dice and checking the books and being with other people that just really, I enjoy that far more. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I have also enjoyed playing digitally. It's far easier to connect with friends. I can play with people in other states. You know, it's something that the digital world of Dungeons and Dragons has allowed people to connect from across state lines, across the world even. I used to play with this guy who lived in the UK. He was very, very funny. One of my favorite people I've ever had as a player. Just incredibly engaged. It was great. It was a great time. And I would have never met that guy, never been able to play games with him had it not been for the digital space. So that's just something I want you guys to keep in mind. That's something I want you guys to think about and, you know, be important. Just take what I've told you today and figure it out. But realistically speaking, I suggest you try both. I suggest you try a campaign of tabletop and then a campaign of digital and see which one you like more. But if you found this video helpful, then please let me know down in the comments down below. I really have been enjoying making these Dungeons and Dragons videos. I put them off for so long because I haven't played in so long that I felt like I wouldn't really have anything to talk about. But it's fun. It's fun. This is my favorite hobby of all time. So thank you guys again for joining me. I love you all so much, and I will see you in the next one.